Let's talk a little bit about bokeh and how to create that amazing shot. You can see here, I'm in Los Angeles, Chinatown. You can see the video light on the light stand and people holding it high above. I am taking a picture, but my first picture here is I want to do a wide shot. I want to show those Chinese arch and that character of that. And so I want to get all of that. Right? And so you can see the next picture where I posed her. I'm shooting her waist up. She's wearing a Chinese dress, a traditional Chinese dress. And I love this contrast because actually you can tell that she's not Chinese, or maybe she might be part Chinese. I have no idea. But she doesn't look full Chinese, that's for sure. But she has a traditional Chinese dress on. And so that contrast creates interest in the photo. And then what did I do to separate her? I used a red umbrella to put behind her to separate her so you can see her because she has dark hair. And then I've got that beautiful archway in my wide angle lens. So what did I do? I exposed for the archway. She is dark. Then I brought in my video light to give me enough light that I needed. You need that person, the closest that person in general, especially if you're shooting wide angle. If you have a wide angle lens, like on this particular case, I was shooting with a 16 to 35 millimeter lens. So if you're 24 millimeters or wider and you're shooting, that light, that person holding the light can't get in front of you. Why is that? They will be in the picture because you're shooting wide. So in general, you need to train your lighting assistant, especially if you're shooting wide, to kind of stay at the same level that you are. Because you do not, as you're shooting wide, you do not want them in the picture. Now what I'm gonna do is I have a couple. They are, the next shot is I'm in the same location. Now, I'm shooting with an 85 millimeter lens now, and I have to move back to get them into the frame. And so as I move back to make sure that I'm getting both of them, and since I'm using an 85 millimeter lens, I have to step back a little bit to make sure that they're in the frame. And as I move back, you can see, even though I'm shooting with an 85 millimeter lens, I'm at 1.8, you can start to see those lanterns behind them blur out. And I love that effect. This is what I love about shooting at nighttime, is finding those lights behind the subject that you can blur out. That makes it look interesting. The thing is that I wanted people to know that those were Chinese lanterns. I didn't want to blur them out completely because why? What are they wearing? They're wearing a traditional Chinese outfit. And so they wanted that particular look, and it looks beautiful. You see them right away. It creates impact right away because your eye goes to what is sharpest first. And it is clearly, because the background is blurred out, because you're using a shallow, fast 1.8 f-stop lens, is gonna blur out the background. But it's still gonna be interesting because there's lights back there. And so this is so easy to do with a video light, and it's so impressive. I love shooting this way. We are at the same location, but this shot looks completely different. And now I'm just generally shooting waist up. So I, with my 85 millimeter lens, can move closer to my subject. The lighting is the same, but look behind her. Now you can't even tell those are lanterns back there. They're just big, beautiful bokeh balls behind the person, and it makes for a very stunning portrait. Look at 3 different looks. The same lighting, but different lenses and different distances. And so you have to understand how to achieve those different effects by using your different lenses, but I am using the same lighting technique. Let's create a little drama. I was actually in a restaurant and I wanted this film noir look. So what did I do? I was in this restaurant. We were in London and we were all waiting to have dinner. And if you ever, restaurants, if you're out there, if you don't bring the food to a photographer, a bunch of photographers, and you have to make them wait an hour for your food, guess what? We're gonna pull our cameras out and start messing around and having fun. That's exactly what we're doing here. We're waiting for our food. We're like, okay, let's just start taking some pictures. We got beautiful models here and let's have some fun. I said, let's try to create a film noir look in this Indian restaurant. So what I did was I took a person's iPhone and I used that as my main light. But to create that film noir look, I fired it through a fork. So that fork will have that variance of light on the face. And so the main thing that I'm looking for when I'm doing this is that the eyes are lit up, all right? So I can have shadow anywhere else, but I want those eyes to be lit up. And then on top of that, I took another little video light and I created some shadow against the wall. Well, how did I do that? Well, I had the person hold the light and I just had them put their fingers like this to create a shadow against the wall. I'm using very, very, very tiny light sources to create this effect. But what did I have to do camera setting wise? So you can see in this picture that I was using a 55mm lens. I was shooting at 1.8. I was at 1/60th of a second, but my ISO was at 3200. I probably could have easily dropped this down to 1/80th of a second and been at 1600 ISO, which was a little bit lower, but regardless, I'm still shooting at a high ISO because I'm only using a small amount of light. But technology allows us to take these amazing creative lights because the technology is getting better and better and better. And the camera ISOs, it's no problem at all shooting at 1600 ISO. I have many people shooting at 25,000 ISO and doing shots. That technology is getting very, very good. And so when that ISO can be raised, it's not about the strength of the light, it's about the light quality that you put on your subjects, because even if it's very small amount of light, you can just keep turning your ISO up and take a great picture. Here is your low light exercise that you need to do going forward. And so the first thing I want you to do is to shoot through something, okay? You can use fairy lights, you can use shooting through a door, or in some instances, I was at a reception, I'll just gather all the little, you know how sometimes you're at a wedding reception and they have those small tables for people to stand around? I take those little candles and I shoot through them. And so let's say the dance floor is in front of me, I'll just arrange those candles and I'll shoot through them and I'll get a great shot. So anything that is lit that you shoot through is gonna look amazing. It doesn't have to be fairy lights. It could be something that in your environment that you find, or it could be a door. So exercise 1, shoot through something and to your subject. Here's another exercise I want you to do, is to use your video light as uplight, okay? And one easy way to do it is you can put your subject on the chair so they're lower to the ground, and then you can put the video light on the ground, and then you can simply put your umbrella over it, giving you big, nice uplight. And so if you have that uplight in combination with some backlight behind them, it's gonna create a fantastic shot. For the third exercise, I want you to create some big, huge bokeh balls in the background. So how do you do that? You need to use at least a 50mm lens. The longer the better. You know, if you have an 85 or even a 135, that's gonna look great. Get as close as possible to your subject, and then you're gonna watch and you're gonna see those lights behind that person just get big and huge. You can even take a person on the street with car lights behind them, street lights behind them, whatever lights, store lights, and create that beautiful bokeh effect that's blurred out. And that's a very impressive low light nighttime shot that you need to master. Exercise number 4. use the video light as your main light, and now you want to add flash. You can add flash as a rim light. You can also add flash as gelling it and making your background a different color if you want to. And if you want to do that, generally I say start your flash at about 1/64th power, shine it against your background and see how that looks. If it's too bright, then knock it down. If it's not bright enough, pump it up. You can just adjust by sight. But I want you to use a secondary light source. So you have your video light as the main, and then use your flash as backlight, or even you can gel it and make it a different color. You can even gel the hair light or the backlight a different color too. Be creative, be fun, practice, exercise. Go outside of your box and try something new. The last exercise, I want you to create that film noir look. Now, how do you do that? You need to take a small light source, whether it's your smartphone or just a small little flashlight, and you need to go take a fork with you, or I always have like a supply of plastic forks that I have in my bag, right? Take that little fork out. Shine it through, use your smartphone and shine it through that fork onto your subject, making sure that the eyes are lit. That's going to create this kind of film noir look. And then in the background, create a shadowy background. So take your flash or your video light or second video light, fire it through something to create a shadow. I don't know what you got to find, but there's a lot of things in your environment that you can use to create a shadow on your background. And you can even gel it too if you want to. You can get creative if you want to. But once you master getting that right light on your subject, you can do all these things in the background with light and create these different effects, right? So you have all those exercises that I want you to practice, and I want you to master them so that you have no hesitation on your job to go out and be inspired and use these different techniques to create this amazing imagery. So go out and do it. Come on back, and we got more for you to learn.